All right, let's talk about binary acids. In this lesson, we are going to write chemical formulas and name binary acids. Before we get into the information about writing chemical formulas and naming, we have to understand what a binary acid is. And a binary acid is simply referring to a compound that has hydrogen and another nonmetal. So it could be HBr or HCl, HF, H2S. All of these are examples of binary acids. The commonality between all of them is that there's a hydrogen and then there's a nonmetal. So they are acids that are made up of hydrogen and a nonmetal. They do not contain oxygen. So this is a sign that you're not looking at a binary acid. So say, for example, there's a hydrogen and then there is, say, SO4. So there's oxygen in there. You know that that's not a binary acid. It's really important for us to identify which compound is which category, so then we can use our appropriate naming rules for them. Okay, so let's start naming them. So my first example here is HCl. And for binary acids, there's a certain format that all of them follow. And the format starts off with, so the prefix is always going to be hydro. So the beginning word, so the beginning part of the word is always going to be hydro. And then it's going to end with ic acid. And that applies for this example as well. So you've got hydro, and then you've got ic acid. So what fits in the middle here? That part is dependent on the nonmetal that you have in front of you. So if you've got HCl, the nonmetal that we have is chlorine. So we're going to write chloric here. So the name of this particular binary acid is hydrochloric acid. And this is all together. And here, our name is going to be hydrobromic acid. And that's it. So anytime you have a hydrogen and a nonmetal, you are looking at a binary acid and you're naming it with the prefix hydro and the suffix ic acid. Let's do the opposite. So we're going to write chemical formulas for these binary acids. So if you've got hydrosulfuric acid, we're going to go back to our rules for ionic compounds. And now it's really important for me to emphasize that hydrogen is not a metal, but we are going to use the rules as if it is. So if you've got H plus, so the charge of hydrogen is always +1. And you've got sulfur, that's my element there, and that has a charge of -2. Now I'm going to do exactly how I did in ionic compounds, and I'm going to bring these down. I'm going to crisscross this so that my formula is H2S. So that is the formula for hydrosulfuric acid. Let's try hydrofluoric acid. So hydrogen has a charge of +1, fluorine has a charge of -1. Crisscross them, and you should get HF. All right, so in terms of writing chemical formulas, you are using the rules for ionic compounds. And that's pretty much it for this. If you want to try some practice, feel free to do that. Let me know if you have any questions.